I'd like to begin the morning with having all of you stand for a short period of silence to recognize a good friend and colleague, Paul Press. Thank you. I might add that a special fund was established by friends of Coach Press. And if any of you are interested or haven't had a chance to donate, see Ernie Markopoulos and he can tell you how such arrangements can be made. Well, this morning we had another great breakfast by our ag staff. I'd like Chris McCullough to come forth and introduce the people who have taken such good care of us at our annual retirement program as well as our annual breakfast. Is Chris here as yet? Yes. Oh, good. I think they can be recognized.
Well, the Technical Arts Division has the wonderful advantage of having the most fun-loving group in the college within our faculty. And I'd like to introduce them. We have on griddle Doug Fritz. Doug, would you stand up so they can appreciate you? He's a great guy. Dave Diaz was on sausage. Lloyd always has a special role. It's called social interaction. Larry's backup griddle, Larry Paulson. Gers Rosen is assistant backup social interaction. Gers is in back. That's good. Lamond was on syrup. Lamond Woods. Harold, and this is a role he takes within the division, within the department, and in real life, utility. This man can do anything. There's Harold Herdrick. Mike Schneider, enviable role, coffee. And we have a temporary addition to our division. You might have noticed her on plates. Margaret McCoon Mahaffey, who probably, knowing Margaret, is not here. Is that right, Dave? That's right. Very shy, but she went out and picked all those peaches for you yesterday, and I hope they're all gone. Margaret McCoon Mahaffey, and thank you very much.
Hold up just a second. As a leader of this group, you notice I didn't use any adjectives today. I'm being nice. But as the leader of the group, I have a special gift for you. And you can share this with the crew, except you may have to water it down with a little Gallo and a little Martell. I'd like to give you a bottle of the college's wine as well. Thanks for your leadership. Did you see the pictures of our staff who've been with us 25 years or longer at yesterday's reception and out in the foyer? Can you believe those pictures? I swear I dated Joan Ray in high school. Surely looked like the same girl I dated. And Priscilla Campos. I haven't seen a Veronica Lake hairdo in a long time. Ernie Markopoulos, he wins the Dorian Gray Award. #1 in seniority, and he hasn't changed in 39 years. He can't retire. If he retires, you know what happened to Dorian Gray. And someone said, let's go over and see Gersh's before picture, Gers Rosen. Let's see if he had hair. He didn't, 25 years ago. We're indebted to Judy White and Jenny Palder for putting that together. Thank you very much. I'm reversing the program a little bit. We're going to have our introductions now and some comments from our academic and supportive staff leadership. First, to introduce our new managers and supervisors, Vice President Phil Laughlin. Phil?
Thank you. First, there are three managers that are joining us for the first time right now. The first of these is Rick Quantone. Rick, would you stand and identify yourself? Rick is the new assistant chairperson of the Technical Arts Division. He comes from Delta, most immediately from De Anza College, where he was the Dean of Applied Sciences. In that role, he supervised the Technical Arts program. He also served as Gender Equity Coordinator, initiated the annual Career Program Expo, developed a computer integrated manufacturing program, and co-authored a 2+2+2 project. All of these things we're looking forward to him doing here. Prior to De Anza, he spent a year in the Bahamas, and before that, he was the Assistant Dean for Instructional Technologies at Kirkwood Community College in Iowa. He is currently finishing a doctorate in industrial education from the University of Missouri. He has earned the MS and DS degrees in industrial arts from Central Missouri State University. Welcome, Rick. In the instruction office, we have two individuals that have joined us recently. The first of these, Catherine Campbell, the Dean for Instructional Development. Catherine? Catherine has been at the College of Marin for a number of years. In her roles there, she served as the Director of Career Programs and Services. She worked with VEA and JTPA funds and the business and industry. She was responsible for the non-credit program for older adults and community service classes. She developed comprehensive job placement services for students and coordinated and supervised the operations of 4 community centers. She also serves as the Affirmative Action Officer. She was a member of the Marin Private Industry Council, the Planning Committee of that council, and the Bay Area Occupational Planning Committee. She attended UCLA and Dominican College, and she has participated with the Coro Foundation and the Community College Leadership Skills Seminars. Welcome, Catherine. The third individual, Anthony Tricoli, the Dean for Instructional Services. Anthony. Anthony earned his associate degree from Golden West College and attended Whittier College with a degree in sociology and the University of Redlands with the University of Arts degree in education and a doctorate in education degree from Pepperdine. He didn't stay in one place very long. He began his career as a community college instructor. He taught at Golden West College, Orange Coast College, and Compton Community College. He told the part-time faculty last night that he could identify with them because he had been a freeway flyer too. He was a manager for technical training and development for General Motors Hughes Aircraft in Newport Beach, and he has directed certain specialty programs, quality circles, cost improvement, vocational English as a second language. Since 1988, he has been at Monterey Peninsula College, where he was for instructional student services, and he's worked with evening and community service classes, contract instruction, and managed off-campus centers. So we're very pleased to have him as an addition to our staff. Welcome, Anthony. We have 4 classified managers that have been with us for most of the last year. I think most of you already know them, but I would like to introduce them anyway. Loretta Adrian, who's the International Student Advisor. Loretta? Deborah Louie, who is the Supervisor for Relations with Schools and Colleges. Deborah? Cheryl Clark, who is the Registrar. and Mark Brome, who is the campus police sergeant. Mark? Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. I'd now like to introduce Catherine Campbell, Dean of Instructional Development, who will introduce this year's faculty interns.
Good morning. It's a privilege to participate in making some special introductions this morning. First, a little context. 10 graduate students from local universities have been selected to participate this semester in the Faculty Intern Program for Diversity, a first-of-its-kind grant awarded by the Chancellor's Office to Delta College. The purpose of this program is to provide the interns with teaching experience and to encourage them to consider a career in community college teaching. Each intern will work with a faculty mentor. And now I'm going to introduce the mentors who will introduce their interns. And if the mentors will come up as I call your name. Bill Agopsowitz, communication skills. Bill. Melissa Beeson-Holmes, communication skills. Roger Crawford, technical arts. Oh. Chris McCullough, chair, is going to sub for Roger Crawford. Randy Gaines, fine and physical arts. Joe Gonzalez, communication skills. Stephen Giermick, fine and physical arts. Mary Ann Paz, fine and physical arts. Jack Sturton, social sciences. Roberto Vallejo Pantoya, social sciences. And Roger Waller, business. Bill.
Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to introduce Patricia Powell. Where's Patricia? There she is. She likes to be called Trish. Patricia is going to teach an English 1A class with me this fall in the Success Within Reach program. She has college teaching experience through Merced College at the Castle Air Base, and she has a BA in speech communications from the University of Missouri, St. Louis, and is currently attending California State University Stanislaus to gain a master's degree in English. Welcome, Patricia.
It's my pleasure to welcome Stacy Hoffman as my intern in the Learning Disabilities Department. Stacy is completing her master's degree in special education at Cal State Sacramento next semester. She has several credentials, including her resource specialist credential, learning handicapped, severely handicapped, and multiple subject credentials. She's had a wide variety of experience teaching special education classes since 1983 and has received several honors. Among them were an Outstanding Teachers Award from Sacramento Association for the Retarded, a California State Senate Resolution of Commendation, and she served as a mentor teacher in Sacramento Unified School District. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to work with her, and I'm sure you'll join me in giving her a warm welcome.
I want to welcome Din No, Din, to the engineering faculty of Delta College. He's a wonderful asset because our engineering department is very heavy on mechanical and civil. Din is an electrical engineer, so a welcome addition. He's going to be working with Roger Crawford, teaching our electrical circuits class next semester. He is currently getting his master's from Sacramento State in electrical and electronic engineering. He received his bachelor's from CSU Fresno. And the important thing here is Din is homegrown. He's from Delta College in engineering. Thank you.
The intern that I'll be working with this semester is Linda F. McDonald. Linda happened to be a graduate from Springfield College, and she also happened to graduate cum laude. She's presently working on her master's degree at the University of the Pacific. I'm certainly looking forward to working with Linda, and also one of her outstanding achievements is that she was Athlete of the Year in 1973. Linda, welcome aboard.
It is my privilege to introduce to you Mario Moreno, who is a graduate student in Sacramento State College, University, and he finished his bachelor's degree at Chico, where he excelled in several areas of visual arts, from mural painting to computer graphic. So it's rather versatile or diversified. We have to use that word, I think, more often. I'm very much looking forward to work with him this semester, and I only hope that his youthful enthusiasm and energy becomes contagious. Thank you. Mario Moreno.
I would like to introduce Esther Yvonne Boyd. Esther goes by Yvonne, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Yvonne for 2 years and have worked with her also at another community college. She has 19 years experience in teaching through the K through 12 program. Presently, she has her MA degree, but is presently working on a Master of Arts in Reading at Cal State University, and has also begun working in the counseling area and taking counseling courses to help the students that she usually works with. She has an acute interest in working with the non-traditional student and does a very good job. So I'd like to welcome Yvonne to our campus.
I would like to introduce Milan Matroni. She's the intern that I'll be working with. And she received her undergraduate degree from the University of Davis in exercise physiology. She's currently working on her master's degree in sports management at the University of the Pacific. She's been an assistant manager, fitness specialist for a fitness center in San Francisco, and a recreation supervisor for the city of Davis. Currently, she has been teaching activity classes at the University of the Pacific, as well as a lab class in heart exercise nutrition and exercise physiology. I'm looking forward to working with you, Milan.
I should start off with Go Bears, because you know it's about that time. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Mabel Quo Boyer. Mabel will be an intern with me, and all of you have warned her sufficiently already. Mabel is was a native of Taiwan. She's now a naturalized citizen of the United States. She did her undergraduate work, or a majority of it, in Taiwan, has been here for 8 years, completed her bachelor's degree at CSU Stanislaus in sociology, and is currently working on an MSW degree at CSU Sacramento. She works for the Human Services Department, which we all know is the Welfare Department, down in Stanislaus County in Child Protective Services, and she looks like she's going to be an excellent teacher, and I look forward to having the opportunity of working with her here, and I hope all of you will have an opportunity to get acquainted with her too. Thank you.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Maria Delgado Eyin. She'll be working with us in the Spanish department. We're very pleased to have her. She comes to us from Sacramento State. She's working on her master's degree program. She also speaks Japanese fluently, which is nice. We expect a lot. She'll help our department a lot. We're very pleased to have her. She's a native of Spain. That'll broaden our knowledge of Spanish a little bit, won't it? Thank you very much.
Well, I have the pleasure of introducing Llewellyn Jordan, and she goes by Pat. So Pat, if you'd remain standing this way, they'll really be able to identify you here. Pat is a graduate of Delta College also back in 1987, And I asked Pat yesterday, I said, who was her favorite instructor? Recognizing that I was on staff in 1987, and Pat said they all were great. And I thought, right there, I knew that she was going to be a good instructor. Pat's received her BS degree from University of San Francisco in Human Relations and Organizational Behavior, and she's currently working on her MBA from National University here in Stockton. And Pat is also working at Pacific Bell 40 hours a week, and she's going to be assisting me in our Introduction to Business courses. So I look forward to working with Pat, and I encourage you all to sign up for the course. So, thank you.
Thank you. I hope you join me in a round of applause to welcome our new interns and to thank our mentors. Thanks.
I'd like Evia Moore, President of the Academic Senate, to come forth, please. And also I'd like Jack to come up for a moment. Jack Sturden. The prize of the year this year is going to be if you can catch Jack without wearing gold and blue. I gave him a Delta sweatshirt. I hope he wears it one of these days instead of UC Berkeley. But we recognize Jack for his outstanding contributions to the Academic Senate this year. I just want to reaffirm that. In terms of college governance, collegial governance, I think under Jack's leadership, we made quantum leaps. And I just wanted to recognize that again today, even though he received my highest award, which is a Delta College Cup. I have something for him to put in it as he begins to relax. So Jack, thank you again. Now the faculty's new leader, Evia Moore. Evia.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to another school year. A year that will be quite different for me, a year full of challenges and change. We have gained increased faculty participation in college decision-making. Along with this responsibility comes more accountability on our part. We accept the challenge. As the newly empowered faculty, we face the challenge of proving the value of this empowerment. This administration of the Academic Senate will strive to serve you and represent you well in all aspects of professional and academic matters. I would like to introduce to you two groups of our faculty members that are accepting the challenge. First, our Academic Senate officers for the next 2 years. Please stand as I call your name. First Vice President William Davis. Second Vice President Eugene Kirchner. Secretary Karen Anderson. Parliamentarian Junior DeBoe McKenna. Immediate past President Jack Sturden. And our Executive Secretary, Mickey Strong. Thank you. The next group of our faculty members that are helping us to accept the challenge are persons serving as a partner or buddy to a new faculty member in our new Colleague Assist program. This group is giving of their time and skills to ensure that our new and capable faculty are welcome and oriented into the Delta community. Thank you for your time and willingness to serve. These persons serving as buddies are, and after I call the name, they will come forward. Norman Nichols, some of them are not here, but there will be someone to do their job for them this morning. William Davis, Howard Stark, Constance Smith, Junior DeBoe McKenna, Hubert Powell, John Walker, Helen Murray, Lillian Rich, Elizabeth Blanchard, Jack Sturton, John Jordan, Jane Burns, Diane Oren, Roger Waller, and Ken Kubia. The buddies will now come forward and introduce our new faculty. Thank you.
Well, I need to introduce a couple of people from the English department. Norm is giving a final, so he couldn't be here. But first, I'd like to mention June Gillum, who is one of our new English instructors in communication skills. She earned her Associate of Arts degree from Sac City College and her Bachelor of Arts and Masters of Arts degrees, both in English at Cal State Sacramento. But she has also attended the University of Southern California School of Public Affairs. She's been a regional occupation program instructor teaching word processing at Sacramento County Office of Education, and she's also been a part-time instructor at American River College for 5.5 years teaching English and freshman composition. She has also been a developmental writing skills instructor for the Veterans Move-Up program, also at Cal State Sacramento, and she has a particular interest in using computers in assisting composition instruction. She also has outstanding taste in that she's married to a journalist who is the Capitol correspondent for the LA Times, and she also impressed me by telling me that she has built, along with her husband, a 50-foot ferro cement boat in the backyard. And also, for Norm, I'd like to introduce Candace Andrews. Is she here? I haven't seen her this morning. There she is. She will also be teaching English, and she also comes to us from Sacramento. She got her Associate of Arts degrees at Sac City and her Bachelor of Arts degree in teaching credential from Cal State Sacramento. She also earned her Master's of Arts in English from CSU Sacramento. She has also had experience in high school and college level teaching. She's been an English teacher at Cordova Senior High School in Sacramento for 4 years and also taught part-time at American River teaching English 1A. She's also been a substitute teacher of English for the Sacramento School District and was a graduate assistant teaching English 1A at CSU Sacramento when she was in graduate school. She has also served when she was teaching in high school as a master teacher to 3 student teachers and has also attended a yearly writing workshop at the University of California at Davis. Something else that's interesting about Candace is she was awarded the 1989-90 Presidential Citation Award for the best thesis in the area of the humanities. And we'd like to welcome them to the English department.
No special order here. I've been parliamentarian for this Senate for so long, probably some of you wonder what qualifies you. And you know how it is, you're a speech teacher and we teach students to put, like 10 marbles in their mouths to learn to enunciate more clearly, and you take 1 marble out each day. When you've lost all your marbles, you're qualified to be a parliamentarian. On a much more serious note, I have the privilege of introducing 2 buddies, and my buddy for all year, if she will stand please, is Vicki Marie. She's the young woman you heard our speaker discuss yesterday from Micronesia. Well, before I get into the biographical stuff, it just happened, when I walked on campus the other day, there was Joseph Montez, who I'm going to introduce, and Vicki, and the 3 of us were standing there. And I must have been a little bit nervous because I said, "Oh, well, Vicki, I guess you're going to be working in the Success Beyond Reach program." And she leaned over and she said, "Ginger, I think at Delta they call it the Success Within Reach program." Vicki earned her Associate of Arts degree from Sacramento City College and her Bachelor and Master of Arts degree from California State University, Sacramento in Communication Studies. And by the way, she and Karen Inouye were the top 2 students in their class. Delta's very lucky. She served as a part-time instructor in speech at California State University while she was enrolled in the master's program. In addition, she has taught part-time at the community college level in the area of speech. And she had experience in teaching at the Community College of Micronesia full-time in speech communication. She has also served as a writer and editor in the Office of Emergency Services, which definitely qualifies her to be at Delta College. Joseph was asking us because she indicated she's going to be working with the forensics program, exactly what that was. And she and I agreed we need to come up with a new title. Can you imagine your college daughter writing home and saying, "Mother, I'm going forensicking this weekend. I'm going to do it for 3 days, and I'm going to do it in public." I really think we need a new title for our program here at Delta. In Nevada, the Indians develop a shield, and this is so people can know everything about them. And so if I were to construct a shield for Vicki, I would add to it also, she has excellent references. She's conscientious, student-oriented. She was very candid with our interview team. She had just flown home from Micronesia. She had jet lag, 2 hours of sleep, and when she completed this beautiful interview, she said, "I just want to go home and have a dish of ice cream and go to bed." You could also put on her shield clothes, computers, and books. All of them are in Tokyo, Japan, where she could be teaching this morning. She said she talked with her friends and they said, "Well, where are you going to go?" And she said, "Well, I have a choice between Tokyo and Stockton." And they all said, "Tokyo." No, Stockton. She said this is her dream job. I think that's just absolutely marvelous. However, I understand there is a vase of flowers on her boxes in Japan, and they're all out of kilter. Additionally, I could add to her shield, attractive, intelligent, clear communicator, and if I go on, I'm going to get absolutely depressed. This is a wonderful buddy and a partner in learning and teaching. Joseph Montez, would you please stand? Hubert Powell is his buddy, but I have the privilege of having made a better new friend too. Joseph earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in Liberal Studies and a Master of Arts degree in Education with an emphasis in bilingual, cross-cultural education, both from the University of Pacific. He was an ESL teacher at Hamilton Middle School in Stockton, where he has also served as a bilingual instructor's aide. He has been teaching ESL, reading, math, and social studies. In addition, he has taught English as a second language as a part-time instructor for San Joaquin Delta College and has served as a children's counselor in the Children's Home of Stockton. Mr. Montez has broad experience with a wide variety of ESL students, including Hispanic, Cambodian, Hmong, Lao, Vietnamese, and Chinese. Sit over there. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I loved our speaker yesterday. I thought he was wonderful. He has a particular sensitivity to the needs of disadvantaged and English as a second language students due to his personal experiences as a member of a migrant family and to his educational and professional experiences. On his shield, you would find the words excellent teacher, excellent rapport with students from a variety of ethnic backgrounds. When you're interviewed by the communication skills team, you're asked to describe yourself as a teacher in one word. Both he and Vicki used the word enthusiastic, and he also added to his dramatic. And yesterday he was telling me that his wife is a teacher of the visually handicapped, and they had a group of these students over, and he said we all ended up just laughing our heads off that evening because this one little kid was saying, "Hey, look, 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 I'm breakdancing," and they were all blind. He's very touched by his wife's students as well. On his shield, I also could put marathon runner. He hopes to participate in the Boston Marathon next year. And Joseph, that highly qualifies you to be a member of the faculty at Delta College because we have neither faculty parking nor faculty restrooms. And because both of you have survived the communication skills interview team, I know you could get out of Kuwait. It's my privilege to introduce these two buddies, these two partners in teaching and learning, and it will be my privilege to work with them this year.
Good morning. My name is Diane Orrin, and my buddy is a very, very special lady, as I'm sure all of us feel about our persons. Irene Samara. Irene is sitting over here. If you'd please stand up. Irene comes to us from Lodi, where she had her origins, and she told me just this morning that she grew up not very far from where I live. In fact, she went to school at Lodi High. She continued through Delta College, and she's one of our own. She graduated from the University of Pacific, sought her master's degree from the University of the Pacific as well. She's taught in Stockton Unified, and one of the really nice things is that she was a part-time teacher here at Delta College for, was it 3 years, Irene? 2 years. And we got to know her very well in the Communication Skills Division, and we know what a fine teacher she is, but more than that, what a wonderful, warm human being she is. When you get a chance and an opportunity to talk to Irene, you'll see her enthusiasm that bubbles over, her quest for answers and determination. I'm very, very happy to be working with Irene this year, and I look forward to this year. And I hope I can be your buddy next year, too.
Good morning. My buddy is Linda Nugent. Linda earned a bachelor's degree in English and a master's in education degree in curriculum and instruction, with an emphasis in reading from the University of Pacific. Most of us, a matter of fact, quite a few of us have been there and graduated from UOP. She was an elementary teacher at Modesto City College for 7 years, and she taught 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th grades. And she also taught English in the 7th and 8th grades at Lodi Unified School. She's been an hourly instructor in reading at Delta College since 1986 and a GAIN instructor in reading since 1988. This means that because Linda was in the GAIN program, she has had the opportunity to go through orientation to the college twice. So that means the bus trip twice, everything twice. She said she really enjoyed that. Okay. While in her master's program at UOP, she was awarded the Outstanding Reading Specialist Credential Candidate in 1987. She has been it's been said to me, and I've heard it through students as well as other faculty members, that she is particularly sensitive, she's caring, and a dedicated professional. She enjoys working with the ESL students and students of disadvantages. And I'm quite sure Linda will be a plus because she is here at Delta College. Welcome, Linda.
I'm Constance Smith, and it is my pleasure to welcome my partner, Annette Catano, who will join me in teaching psychiatric mental health nursing. Annette is a graduate of the University of Hawaii, where she received a bachelor's degree in professional nursing, and the University of Colorado with a master's of science in psychiatric nursing. Lynette has been employed as a psychiatric clinical nurse specialist at the VA hospitals in Livermore and also Sacramento. She also has served as a clinical instructor of nursing at the University of California School of Medicine at Sacramento. During the many hours that we have spent together in developing our course, I have found her to be intelligent, creative, witty, and best of all, a team player. It is my pleasure to welcome Annette Catano.
I'm happy to make this introduction because it shows we are all teachers, and that I will read to you what you could have read in your the notes that were passed out to us, set the tone for the semester. I'm very happy to introduce Phil Hutchins, who is a new member of the English department. Phil was graduated from the University of the Pacific with a major in English and French and received his PhD from Rice University, where he did work on Conrad and Faulkner, which we now know he can read, which makes him a rarity among the people. He has been teaching for 14 years at Menlo College, and he has covered a world of topics down there, which I don't need to go into, because if you all realize what people have been teaching, you know he's covered everything. He has been described as an excellent teacher, a superb teacher, has won numerous awards, and he's also interested in volleyball. And so if anybody would be interested in starting volleyball, he'd be willing to have a team of some sort. And so we'd like to welcome Phil back to the Stockton area and hope he has great success at Delta College.
I'm Liz Blanchard in the Social Science Division, and it's my pleasure to introduce my buddy. I think they assigned me a buddy to watch me rather than my helping the buddy. But Kitty, could you please stand up? I couldn't find, where's my buddy? There she is. She's one of the epitome example of diversity. We heard about diversity needs, understanding, and tolerance. Well, let me give you her background and you could understand her diversity that will add to our faculty. She earned her bachelor's degree in humanities and liberal arts from the International Christian University in Tokyo, Japan. She earned a master's degree in the library science from the University of California, Berkeley, and has postmaster's work in information science. She's also a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania student. She speaks Mandarin, Cantonese, and Japanese, so she will be teaching in our area of Mandarin and Japanese. In addition to her fluency in 3 dialects of the Chinese, she also has studied German and Italian. She's traveled extensively throughout Asia and Europe. She has the advantage of being a librarian, which means she will give us the resource that the language professors need. She has taught for nearly 10 years at the California State University in Sacramento. She's also a lecturer in computer science teaching, Fortran, and Basic at CSU Sacramento. She's been a consultant and an instructor for ASCO, Aerojet, involved in culturalization program to prepare employees for overseas assignments in Taiwan. She served as a director of the Cambodians in California and as an information and cultural needs assessment project at the University Library at Sacramento State University. She's also the state certified court reporter in Chinese and has been a consultant and monitor for Chinese proficiency ratings for private industries. In addition, our diversified Ms. Shek has served as an assistant librarian at the State University of Sacramento. She comes with excellent references, excellent preparation. She's very sensitive to student needs. She described herself as a mother, a hard worker, and a devoted wife. But I would like to describe her to you as one of the greatest assets that we've added to the social science for many years. Thank you, and welcome, Michelle.
I could say back by popular demand, but I'm not sure that's true. I would like, will Nelson, the guy, stand? Where's Nelson hiding? There he is. This is called Local Boy Makes Good. Remember that? Nelson has been a member of our staff in the HEP program for the years that the HEP has been here. He also served as a member of the HEP team when it was at the University of Pacific. In the interim period for the last 8 years, he's been a part-time instructor in the social science division in economics, and that's why I say local boy makes good, because obviously now he's a full-time instructor with us in the social sciences division. Nelson overcame many handicaps to get to Delta College. He went through Edison High School, but then the real handicapping condition came, but he managed to overcome that well enough. He managed to get a bachelor's degree from the Leland Stanford Junior University. Then he got a little more back on the right track because he earned a Master's of Science degree from the University of California at Davis in International Agricultural Development, which included a very strong emphasis in economics. Nelson's been very active in working with diverse students. He's a tremendous asset to us, and we really welcome him now as a full-time staff member. Join me in giving him another hand. The second person I'd like to introduce to you is Steve Talbot. Steve, you want to stand Steve comes in as Jim Smythe. A little bit thinner, you know, but about the same age. No. Steve comes to us from the University of California at Davis. He's had extensive experience there as a lecturer in the Indian or in the Native American program, which is a very strong emphasis of his. He's probably done more research than anyone on our staff has ever done in the area of Native Americans. It's a very primary interest for him. His degrees came from the University of Oregon, where he earned a bachelor's degree in anthropology and sociology. He earned his master's degree from the University of Arizona, and then he made the right step. He got a doctorate from Cal. Steve has had extensive experience throughout the United States. As I said, he's currently a visiting lecturer in Native American Studies at UC Davis. That's where he came from. He's also taught at the Universities of Oregon and at Washington, D.C. University. He tells me he served as the NEA vice president when he was there. He also organized the first NAACP chapter at that institution. He has served as an editor for an information service in Finland, a visiting scholar at Stanford for the National Endowment of Humanities, and a resource anthropologist on various projects. He's a tremendously interesting resource to have, and we really welcome him to the Delta family. Welcome, Steve.
As some of you know, Lillian Rich and I are going to team teach a Spanish course. It's called Beauty and the Beast. It's by Beauty and the Beast. Well, Beauty is still teaching a course, and I am standing in for her. So Ms. Rich is not here this morning to welcome Peggy Rocha. Peggy has earned her bachelor's degree in liberal arts and studies with the concentration in French and a master's of arts degree in French, both from the University of Illinois. While at the University of Illinois, she also studied Italian extensively. In addition, she has studied at the University of the Sorbonne in Paris and earned a diploma. I couldn't do this in French if it killed me, but she has a diploma of languages and civilization with a major in French language and civilization. All that was in French, but no way. As a high school and as a college student, Ms. Rocha had the opportunity to live in France, and she has spent approximately 3 years there. Mrs. Rocha has over 12 years' experience teaching French and Italian. She has taught at the high school, college, and community college levels, and has also been a private instructor in French. She was an instructor of French at the University of Southern California for 2 years, where she was responsible for teaching French to both graduates and undergraduates. On behalf of Lillian Rich and the Social Science Department, I welcome you to the faculty. Peggy, thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Jack Jordan from Fine and Physical Arts. Just before I attempted to come down here this morning, I received a telegram that I think we all should share in because it's really evident today. And that was I received a telegram from Dave Maggard, the athletic director at the University of California at Berkeley. And he asked me to ask Jack Sturgeon to stop buying gold and yellow coats and contribute more money to the athletic department, and they'll be much more successful. It's really a great privilege for me to be here today. As a football coach at Delta, it could be hazardous to your health. It's a great privilege for me to be a buddy of Mr. Gary Scott. Not only is Gary a buddy here, but he's been a buddy since 1970. When Gary left, he's a community college product. He went to Menlo Community College, San Mateo Community College, went to the University of Pacific, where he's an outstanding football player, and graduated from there with a BA in physical education. He was a graduate assistant there while working on his master's degree, which he attained at the University of Pacific, and was very successful there as a graduate assistant because I happened to be a full-time assistant at that time. Gary left the University of Pacific and went to Linden High School. His first job was a head job. And as some people here in our audience know, Gary was not only a very fine football coach, but a very fine person and an asset to the community of Linden. He left there for a better job to be the head coach at Sanger High School. And if any of you have been familiar with the Valley in the Fresno area at that time, when Gary was there, was very competitive in football. And Gary was the head football coach at Sanger High School, was very successful, took his team to the Yosemite Championship games, and upon that, he was asked to come back to the University of Pacific and be a full-time assistant, which he was. And he was very successful there. The University of Pacific Physical Education Department rates Gary as one of the top students, and now also one of the top teachers that they've had at the University of Pacific. 2 years ago, we were very fortunate to hire Gary as an assistant football coach here, to coach here and teach in Lodi in their elementary physical education department. He's done an outstanding job there, and I'm very happy that he will be with us this coming fall, not only as a football coach, which he is outstanding, but also as a teacher. I can speak to that in two ways. One, from working with him and being his head coach, and also because I have a son. And my son graduated from here with honors and said one of the best teachers he's ever had was Gary Scott. And I want to thank you, Gary, for doing all those things. And I really appreciate you coming to Delta College, and I think the faculty will understand why in the near future. Thank you very much.
I have the pleasure of introducing two new business faculty to Delta College. And the first person I'm going to introduce, and this is really an opportunity for me to be a buddy to somebody. And I remember my buddy, Mike Guerrero, who recently retired, was very helpful to me in this role. So I'm looking forward to trying to help my buddy out also. And I don't think the fact that I was Mike's buddy was the reason he retired last year either, but I'm not sure. But let me introduce Dean Danielson first. And Dean, would you please stand up? I think that's Dean over there. And Dean is going to be my buddy, and Dean is a real opportunity for Jan Trescott, our division chair, because she has the opportunity to direct a dean, and I think that's a great opportunity for Jan. Because I always remember meeting Dean McNeely when he was here, and it took me several years before I realized that it was Dean McNeely, and everybody was calling him Hi Dean, and I thought, what a friendly place we have here. But Dean comes to us after graduating from West Point. He received a BS degree in engineering, and he also received his master's degree in business administration from the University of Utah. For the past 12 years, Dean's been working at the Procter & Gamble plant down in Modesto, and they have great products at this plant. And Dean, they produce, I believe it's Loves and Pampers. And when I heard this, I said, Dean will really appreciate Delta College, because that's what he's going to get around here a lot of, love and pampering. But he's also taught for the past 2 years in the business division at Modesto Junior College and at Columbia College. And he's been an adjunct professor at Cal State Stanislaus and Turlock. He's taught a variety of business courses and has tremendous background to assist us in the business division. But in addition to his college teaching, Dean's also been active as president of the board for the Volunteer Center in Stanislaus, and a board member of the All May Be One School and Orphanage, and a board member of the Modesto Patriots Youth Football. So I think that you'll all enjoy meeting and working with Dean, and I'm certainly going to look forward to being his buddy for hopefully, I think like somebody mentioned, not only this year but throughout his career here at Delta. And I'm sure that the nice thing about this is I'll be passing a little Mike Guerrero on to Dean also. So Dean, welcome here to Delta College. Second person that I have to introduce is Martha Villarreal Ocampo. And I didn't see you. Oh, Martha, there you are. Martha. And Martha has really been very involved here in Stockton. She's done a lot of different programs here in the community, and I think I was very impressed when I got to the bottom of the page, Martha, and they have down here that among her many successes, she was awarded the San Joaquin County Woman of Achievement Award in 1987, and I think that's really fantastic, and she's certainly to be commended for that. Now, in addition to doing that, she's done a lot more. She earned her Associate of Arts degree in Liberal Arts and Political Science from Los Angeles Harbor College, a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts, Chicano Studies, and Bilingual Education from Loyola Marymount University, and a Juris Doctorate from the University of California. But there's a law at the end of that, and I'm not exactly sure. I guess that's UCLA, is that it? Yeah, and so UCLA, and she's also going to be completing an MBA degree from Cal State University Stanislaus. So Martha has excellent academic credentials. But in addition to that, she's been doing a tremendous amount of work here in Stockton. She served as the project director for the Stockton Minority Business Development Center, the executive director for the Council for the Spanish-Speaking, and the project director for the Stockton and Fresno Minority Business Development Centers. So she's been very involved here in the business community and will be, again, another tremendous asset to us. She's also, I don't know how you ever found the time to do all this stuff, Martha, but she's also been teaching a number of courses here within the Small Business Institute at Delta College. And so she comes to us with a knowledge of where the copy machines are, and that'll be a tremendous assist in the first few weeks of the semester. So I want to welcome both Martha and Dean to the Business Division.
It's my pleasure to introduce Farida Smythe, and I'm sure she's a familiar person to a lot of you here. She's been a part-time teacher for 9 years, and for 2 of those years she was a lab assistant. She was my right arm in the ESL lab. For the past year, she has been a full-time instructor in the game program. Now, in addition to being a very fine teacher of the English language, she's also a student of other languages. And she must be one of the very few Javanese-speaking Chinese students to come from Indonesia to go to Covell College at UOP and graduate with, among other things, a licenciado, enabling her to teach ESL to Hispanic students. She also then went on to complete a master's degree at UOP in TESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages. She is a student of Japanese, French, Dutch, German, and is fluent in Chinese, Spanish, and English. I'm very happy to continue working with her as a full-time colleague, and I bid you to welcome Farida Smythe to Delta.
Will you join me in giving a round of applause for all our new faculty and buddies? And thank you.
Thank you, faculty members. Well, you've met the new staff. Now we're going to meet some of the old-timers. To do this, I'd like to call on Dr. Laughlin and Pat Demo.
Before we go to the veteran members of the staff, we need to make a short announcement that we neglected in the, we were talking about the managers earlier. Jan Truscott has agreed to act as the division chairperson for the business division this year. And Jan has been here so long that she's been here all summer. She's been in the faculty for quite some time, and we didn't think of her change in status, but we're very pleased to have Jan join us as the chair of the business division for this year. Pat and I are going to call the names of the individuals by their numbers of years of service, and we would like you, while we're continuing with that, to come up on the stage, and then Dr. Horton, Pat and I will give you a little token of your tenure at Delta College and the extraordinary number of years of service. We're going to start with Ernie Markopoulos. Ernie started before the college did. 39 years. Ernie?
The next people after that would be Dwight Kennebrew and Del McComb, each with 32 years of service. Please come up.
Then one individual in the class of 31, actually it's the class of 1959, Ken Olson.
Four individuals in the class of 30, John Garau, Francis Hughes, Alan Criss, and John Simley. Please come forward.
Two individuals in the next group, David King and Russ Lawson.
Okay. We have 4 individuals in the next group: Gerald Cundiff, Al Gauthier, Howard Stark, and Henry Talbot. Please come forward.
4 individuals who have served 27 years, Tony Cardinale, Larry Jones, Dick Maslow, and John Sehun.
Those with 26 years of service, we have a big group, a lot of hires in 1964. Dick Bullard, Priscilla Campos, Patricia Frost, Harlan Haig, Eugene Kretschmer, Gordon Matley, Kay Michael, Frank Mickelwright, Ed Schwinn, Muriel Singer, and Tony Trujillo.
"15 individuals in the next group who have served 25 years. Gladys Anderson, Elizabeth Blanchard, William Dolfelmeyer, Terry Hale, Robert Hurd, Carlos McCardo, Ron Murdoch, James Oliver, Lloyd Peterson, Joan Ray, Gersh Rosen, John Walker, Bill Williams, Lamont Woods, and Gary Wyckoff. These people have served served a total number of years so large that our computer could not add that back.
Yeah, let's go by. Yeah.
Let's give the whole group a hand, because I think it looks great to see some strong times back. We're presenting these people with one of our paperweights. We're all unorganized back here. One of our paperweights engraved with their names, the number of years they've been here, and the years of service that they've provided to Delta College. And it was my pleasure to have worked with Jenny Palter and Judy White in coming up with the before and after pictures, and it was a lot of fun. And I hope it was a lot of fun for the rest of you to see those pictures.
Thank you so much. Priscilla. She's lost.
No handicap stick? No.
Thank you.
I was in that personality interview thing, you know, that one of those workshops, and even though they pegged me as an introvert, when I pass the microphone, I just have to get up here and say something. Seems to me, Dr. Horton, that for those of us who put in at least 25 years service, the least we could have had was a bottle of wine. I guess that comes after 40 years. But anyway, and then I have to pass along a comment that Julius Hastings just made to me. After all the new people that were new, talented people that were just hired to join our staff, he said to me, you know what? If you were looking for a job today, you probably wouldn't make it.
Now to introduce, by the way, I'm starting to study Spanish to find out what Tony is saying about me half the time. To introduce our new classified employees and to represent the employees, Classified Employees Advisory Committee, Mickey Strong. Mickey?
Good morning. On behalf of the classified employees, I'd like to, I guess, offer condolences to those of you that didn't have a summer break, and I'll just say hello. To those of you that did have a summer break, welcome back. And to the new employees, I extend a hearty, warm welcome to Delta. I hope you have a wonderful career here, and I'm sure you will. And I am delighted to have been asked to represent the Classified Employees Advisory Council, this morning in the absence of our president, Marianne Fry. Marianne's having a much better time than we are. She's off on vacation in jolly old England. So, but it is a pleasure to be here and represent the Classified Employees Advisory Council, which was formed in the fall of 1989. And the purpose of the Classified Employees Advisory Council is to work as an advisory council to the district in all matters not subject to negotiation. The California School Employees Association is the group that represents the classified staff at Delta in all negotiable items. The classified staff at Delta should really realize how fortunate we all are. We are among the few college campuses in the whole state that have two organizations representing us. We have our CIAC group, the Classified Employees Advisory Council, and the California School Employees Advisory Group. So I also think that we should commend our administration of Delta for being a pioneer in the California Community College districts. Delta formed one of the very first the Classified Employees Advisory Council, and I think our administration should be commended for this. The officers and representatives of CIAC were elected by the classified staff in November of 1989, and at this time I would like to introduce them and ask them to come forward. They will introduce their respective employees that fall within their areas of representation. Ron Duva, would you please stand? Ron wears a dual hat. Speaking of our two organizations that represent the classified employees, Ron's right up front in both of them. Ron is the Classified Employees Advisory Council Vice President and the California School Employees Association President. So Ron represents we classified employees not only in advisory matters but also in the hardcore negotiations. All of the classified employees owe Ron a tremendous amount. I personally, Ron, want to thank you for taking such good care of us here at Delta. Thanks, Ron. And Alan Hitt, would you come forward, please? Alan is employed at Delta in the computer science area as a program analyst, and his CIAC hat that he wears is he represents the technical paraprofessional employees here at Delta. He will introduce those employees in a minute. And then Betty Sue Brown, would you come forward, please? There's Betty Sue. Betty Sue is the division secretary of the Social Sciences Division, and we are also utilizing her expert secretarial skills as secretary for the SEAC group. And Leslie Wang. Leslie is an audiovisual assistant at Delta and represents the special services employees here. And Gerald Rosenkilde. There he is. Jerry is a groundskeeper at Delta. He's one that's responsible for keeping our campus as beautiful as it is, he and his colleagues. And Jerry represents the maintenance and operation employees at Delta College. And now I will step aside and let each of them introduce their respective people. Alan?
Thank you, Mickey. I'd like to welcome the technical and paraprofessional staff who are new to Delta this year. 3 people can't be here today, but I'd like to recognize them. Irma Smith is a communication skills lab assistant, and she's busy registering ESL students. Herman Rodriguez is a friend of mine in computer services. He's currently the nighttime or swing shift computer operator, so he won't be until about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Excuse me. And Deborah Frederick is an employment training technician who's attending Leadership Stockton all day today. The good news is, though, we do have plenty of people here that you will have the pleasure of seeing in person. First is Sandra Canales, who is a communication skills lab assistant in the reading lab. Sandra? Or did she have to go back and register? I think she did. Okay, these hardworking people have to get back to it. Patty Luman is a computer lab attendant. Patty? Well, I guess, where are we, Patty? Okay. Kathy Howe is also a computer operator, and she works the day shift. Dave Hamlet is the matriculation support technician in the instruction office, and he said he had to leave at 10 to take care of registration. Jasmine Argaran is the community education technician. Jasmine. Amy Witzeman is a career center technician. Amy. Tony Delatorre is an accountant in the business office. And finally, Claire Tyson is an accountant in the business office. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce the office services employees. I don't know them myself, and I may make a mistake on the name, so look over me. Connie Blackford, I don't think she's here. I think she's taking a couple of days off. James Leach. Oh, okay, he's working. Kathy's got him working. Wahida Khan. Celeste Lobato. Letitia Johnson. Ada Gale. Nancy Salon. Latanya Payne. Christine Garcia. Irene Coda. Okay. And Janet Peterson. Thank you.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce the following new classified employees from the Special Services area. Michelle Jans of the Science Lab. She's working. Okay. Darlene DeSanti of Food Service. She's probably also working. Kathleen Fleming of Food Service. Working, okay. And Joe Nguyen of the Campus Police, and I understand he worked the graveyard shift last night, so he's not here now. Once again, welcome them to Delta College.
Good morning. As a maintenance and operations representative of SEAC, it's my privilege to introduce the following people who may or may not be here this morning. Those of you out there keeping score, just feel free to join in. Jesse Valdez, custodian. Lori McKinley, custodian. Tan Mai, custodian. Senan Fisco, custodian. Bill Harper, electrician. Tony Lawson, utility worker. Les Lamont, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning worker. Lee Larkins, custodian. And Irene Welch, utility worker. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for helping out this morning. And all I can say in closing is have a wonderful year, and I hope that our fall semester and spring semester will be outstanding, and a special warm welcome to all the new employees. Thank you.
Mary Ann Fry is, as mentioned, in England now visiting her daughter. If you know Mary Ann, she's first and foremost a very dedicated mother, and she could hardly wait to see her daughter in England. So I earlier recognized Jack Sturton for his role in collegial governance, and I also want to recognize the distinguished role that Mary Ann Fry played. So if the committee, Mickey, could present this to Mary Ann, it'd be appreciated. 2 little gifts. Thank you. Some other introductions. I'd like to introduce my wife, who's been here since 9 o'clock, but I held off because I wanted to also catch the trustees as well. But my wife, Beth, is here, and I'd like you to meet her. We just celebrated our 34th wedding anniversary. Beth, here she is on the right. Also, we have 3 trustees with us today. Mrs. Matthews was at the breakfast and dropped over. She has 2 exchange students. Came over. Must have been the syrup. Well, anyhow, she was here with 2 exchange students from Germany, and she's taking them to Yosemite. So we were pleased that she came by. And then also our longest serving trustee, Joe Acosta, is down here in front. Joe? For the newcomers, Joe is a retired teacher and administrator. His entire life was dedicated to basically vocational technical education. So we're pleased to have Joe here. And also Ted Polis, representing the Manteca area. Ted, thank you for joining us. And then to close out this phase of the program, I'd like to call on Pat Demo again, who provided this in-service program, which I just thought was outstanding. So let's give a big hand to our leader, Pat Demo, and she can recognize the people.
Well, good morning again. I just wanted to mention that Alan Chris, who is in the back, was one of our people who was honored for 30 years of service with Delta, and he couldn't get down to the stage, and he wanted everyone to know that. Thank you, Alan. I wanted to start by saying there's a lot of people here to thank for all of the activities. Starts with members of the Staff Development Committee. I'd like to name those, and they might stand up as I do. Joan Ray, Ernie Cooper, Phil Laughlin, Hazel Hill, Del McComb, Rosalie Nakatsu, Nancy Cuneo, Florence Quillentang, Randy Gaines, John Nichols, and one member that we've missed, and that's Nancy Phelps. Give everyone a round of applause. These people helped plan our program. In addition, we ran a lot of these things past what kinds of activities we ought to plan through the Faculty Management and Professional Growth Committees, so I'm not going to name all those people, but thank all of those people as well. In addition, there were a lot of people who helped me put the program together and make sure that everything was running smoothly. Start with my own staff in the Human Resources Department. The Ag staff for the wonderful breakfast we had this morning, even though someone dropped over. I'm sorry to hear that, guys, but anyway. Don Bennett for making the arrangements here in the auditorium, as well as our musicians, Max Simonchik, and the students that were there at the reception last night. Judy Gilsdorf for providing all the food and refreshments for all 3 days of activities. Judy White and Jenny Poulter, as I said before, when we put together the tribute to all of the longtime faculty and staff, and as I said before, that was really a wonderful experience for all of us, digging through the personnel files to find the old pictures. We had a great time doing that, and I hope everyone appreciated that. Tobin Clark and her staff for helping to make sure that we had overheads and screens and all kinds of things, and we did it all at the last minute. Tobin wrote me a note and said, if you have any other requests, my staff's getting nervous, and I said, no, it's all taken care of, and within a half hour I had another request. So I said, you're right, these things come off at the last minute. Also, the printing of our staff notes and the assessment that I would like to have you do, or the evaluation of all the activities, and please have those turned in, as well as any of the other things that were in our packets that were sent out. The health risk appraisal, you can turn those in at this point to the Human Resources Office, and we'll see that they get to Kaiser for a full evaluation. Anyway, we've had a lot of fun. It's been 3 days of wonderful activities, and I thank all of you for participating.
Well, Pat really did an outstanding job. Should we? Pat, thank you so much. Hold up a minute. Also, should we? By the way, next year we'll have a totally new committee. Anyone who schedules me after Dr. Milton Bennett is in trouble. Very difficult act to follow. Why don't we take about 3 minutes and just stand up and stretch, okay? Of the state of the college. This is going to be rather rapid. Some things you may or may not agree with. If you disagree, we would like to hear from you. If you'd like to discuss the issues, we would suggest that arrangements be made with the Senate or the Classified Staff Advisory Committee. we'd be glad to meet with representative groups to discuss any of these issues. The presentation I've prepared talked about the major pluses of the college today, this last year's accomplishments, what's taking place, some changes that are taking place, and the fourth part will deal with some decisions and some objectives we may want to have for the future. And again, I'll go through, and I know that some things you may want to discuss further, and we'd like to do that throughout the course of the year. The overview about the major pluses. We'll have some people try to focus these things, okay, the college is sound and in many respects outstanding, but we're facing some major changes, and these will pose some very large challenges for the future. I think you heard our speaker on Wednesday. You heard our speaker yesterday. We've had speakers before, and I think they have well outlined the challenges ahead. First, on the pluses, we provide top quality education. We have a high quality and committed faculty and staff, excellent academic and occupational courses, and our transfer students excel. For instance, the Delta College transfer students, when they go to other colleges and universities where we receive reports, their grade point average is 2.71 at senior four-year institutions. For instance, at the native, or the students that initially enter California State University colleges, their grade point average is 2.64. And remember that they only accept the top 1/3 of high school graduates. All other community college transfers average 2.62. So on a comparable basis, our graduates do very well. And by the way, Delta College transfer is one of the top schools in terms of transfers. We have a sound fiscal condition. We have balanced budgets. The board has established a prudent reserve policy, which they maintain. There are careful expenditure policies established by the board. Proposition 98 is helping us immeasurably, and I believe we have a highly competent business management. If you'll look at the fund balances in excess or deficiencies of revenues for the various years, you'll see that it fluctuated a great deal after Proposition 13, when the college was trying to reconcile itself with fiscal changes. The last 3 years, we've basically have had a balanced budget, and at the same time, we've put a great deal of money into capital improvements, both building improvements as well as equipment. We're well governed. Our accreditation report commended the staff as being stable and dedicated. It is an outstanding board, and they work very well together, and I think give us good policy direction. We have a competent and committed managerial staff. I think they're improving all the time. And governance is increasingly being shared. I singled out Mary Ann Fry for the classified staff and Jack Sturton for the Senate. I believe that we're making quantum leaps. Our committee structure is extremely active. Most staff members serve on one or more committees, and the committees are functioning very well. The Senate and the Classified Advisory Council make their appointments, and things are done on a timely basis. This year there will be additional training sessions for those persons involved in college governance. Also, we've attempted to stay up with the state-of-the-art in terms of technology. We're proud of Lee Bellarmino and his staff. They are exceptional. They're giving great leadership. They also have a good advisory committee that reviews all requests, prioritizes things, and basically gives us a 1- and 5-year program on all computer-related matters. They've established the administrative network, and shortly we'll have the instructional network. The McNett project and the faculty computing. I think one of the highlights of my educational career was the day that I listened to the various reports from faculty members on how well the personal computers have assisted them in instructional delivery. Numerous faculty have taken part in this program on their time, doing providing excellent educational materials. And you know, I forgot the name of the faculty member, but the first semester I was here, the day prior to closing for Christmas, a faculty member came to my office and spent about 5 minutes with me and said, I have a suggestion. The college has a policy whereby we can't take equipment home or off campus. I can't understand why I can't borrow a PC that isn't going to be used during the vacation period so I can do some lesson plans and do some things that I think can enhance my courses. By the way, is the faculty member here who made that suggestion? I'd really like to know who it was. I've forgotten his name. But I talked to Dr. Laughlin right after that. And Dr. Laughlin came back shortly and said, I think we should have that kind of program, and established the MAC program. And from that, it's expanded and expanded to other facets. And it really has made us, almost all of us, computer illiterate. And more and better things are being done in the classroom. And it really is exciting. We're now working on expanding our student information system. This is going to be a major undertaking, but it's part of the overall 5-year plan. And of course, Delta was one of 10 colleges that was recognized nationally by the Apple Corporation in terms of the Apple Community College Alliance. And with that came a grant in excess of $100,000 and the opportunity to work with other distinguished community colleges in computer-related instruction. We have a strong local reputation. Our community loves us. In a recent poll by The Record, the best thing mentioned about the greater Stockton area was its location. The next best thing was the University of the Pacific and Delta College combined. We have a good image throughout the community. Also, we have excellent working relationships with CSU Stanislaus, and we're in their 6-county service area. And we have excellent working relationships with them, and we're doing more things all the time to provide educational opportunities for the full 4 years of college education. We continue to have excellent ties with the University of the Pacific. They started us in 1935, and we work very closely with them, and we've created additional programs. In fact, we now have one where students eligible for the Cal Grant can transfer to Delta and move to the University of the Pacific, basically with the Cal Grant fee serving as the tuition. Sixth item, we have a beautiful campus. It's going to become more beautiful. There will be some disruption of the campus as we make some capital improvements. But in the end, it's going to be more beautiful. It's a rewarding place to work. I believe that there is high morale. You can go to some places and so many places and they'll talk about low morale or whatever. But I really believe that Delta is a rewarding place to work and does have a good morale. We have a very low staff turnover. We have I want you to hold Gersh down on this one. I put 3 people around Gersh on this. and also alerted our nursing faculty. But we have the highest paid faculty in the state. And I think, in fact, we've put in a chart here where we did some analysis, and this is one of the things that I'm certain the CTA would like to discuss with us. But we're willing to discuss our database and how we arrived at these figures. And then I think there is an absence of animosity and distrust. We want to minimize this type of condition as much as possible. So in summary, the major pluses: top quality academic and occupational education. We're fiscally sound, well-managed, well-governed, state-of-the-art on computer technology, and we believe other equipment, a beautiful campus, excellent community reputation, and a rewarding and satisfying place to work. Now, how about some of the accomplishments, the second part of this program? We've expanded shared governance, expanded staff development opportunities. The HEP program was one of the better programs we had. Unfortunately, the federal government pulled their $500,000 of funding support. This past year, we had 300 high school equivalent graduates. These are young people primarily from migrant families who need their GED. Our HEP staff did an outstanding job. It was functioning almost perfectly. They were going to migrant camps. Their success rate was approaching, I think maybe it exceeded 80%, but it was probably in the upper 70s, around 80% success rate on achieving the GED. And those that achieved it, we had a 100% placement rate. They either went into meaningful employment or they went on for additional college work. Our technology programs, particularly the Nissan program, is outstanding. I don't know how many cars we have or how many hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, but it's substantial. Several new automobiles, training opportunities, equipment, and our technical staff is to be commended for this outstanding program. Also, we completed our second year with the Success Within Reach. We had components for, I'm probably driving Bob Serino crazy up there with the way I'm getting close to these mics, but we had programs for our black students, Hispanic students, and Asian students. Very successful. Dr. Laughlin has talked about trying to expand them because of the success. And for those faculty members who took part in these programs and the counselors, thank you very much. You've immeasurably helped many, many students. And of course, we completed the articulation policy, and we're ready to further launch the so-called 2+2+2 program, which is going to be extremely important to us. Additional accomplishments, a new high in enrollment in ADA. You can see that we've exceeded with our 19,300 fall enrollment this last fall. We've exceeded the high of back in 1980-81. We're completed our accreditation review beautifully. Many, many outstanding compliments in that particular program. We have plans for the new Child Development Center, and you have the artist rendering here, a 12,000 square foot facility that I think will be state-of-the-art. Equipment grants that I mentioned before from Apple, and this is in addition to the equipment grants we received from the Digital Corporation that amounted to in excess of $300,000, as well as other support that they give us on software. An award for affirmative action. DELDA is one of the leading institutions in California, meeting the Board of Governors standards as it relates to staff diversity and affirmative action. And we this will be a continued emphasis by our Board of Trustees and I think all of our staff. And we also completely reorganized the Student Personnel Division, and we're attempting to further strengthen it with strengthening counseling, guidance, and advisement functions. A new Office of Research and Planning. We believe that the state of California, and particularly the community colleges, will be working towards a statewide management information system. We want to be ready. Also, we want to do effective planning. You can't do it without proper research and planning. We have a new consortium of similar colleges, and you can see the 16. These are the 16 largest single campus districts in California. Delta ranks number 7. Originally we had it at 15, and Cabrillo wanted to join the consortium. We're going to be doing a lot of comparative studies because we have a great deal in common in terms of size, in terms of budgets, program diversity, and some other things. So we think this is an accomplishment. And I'd like to mention that the previous comparative group was established in 1963. We think it's important that we update. And one reason it was is the schools, I think around 12 comparable schools was chosen in 63, was basically for salary comparisons. The salary comparisons of these particular 16 schools are higher than the old 12 that we had. New Enrollment Growth Planning Group. You can see the composition of the group. We have to decide how we're going to accommodate to the tremendous enrollment increases we'll be experiencing. Should we maintain one college and one campus? Should we build other colleges? Should we build attendance centers? How should it be accommodated? This is a major planning group, and we want to work with UC Davis. We're in the UC Davis service area for the University of California. We're in the Stanislaus CSU area for them. And we also want to work with the University of the Pacific as well. But we have representatives from our campus constituencies, and we want to really spend some time looking at this and planning for the future. Another accomplishment for the year, you just met new faculty and managers, certificated managers, and you'll find them a majority from underrepresented groups. I also want to say that anytime someone is hired at Delta, they are the best candidate available. In terms of the screening committee and the review process, we only choose those persons that we perceive are the top candidates. And the key for us has been encouraging underrepresented groups to be represented in the available pool of candidates. And we've been very successful, and we're very pleased. We have more to do, and I think yesterday's topic was a good keynote speech for us to continue the work this year. And I have asked Pat Demo and the Staff Development Committee, Dr. Laughlin and the instructional staff to work on coming up with some follow-up programs where we can build on Dr. Bennett's comments. The construction of the Lodi House by our technical staff, outstanding. The house they built in North Stockton last year, and now the Lodi House. Outstanding work. True craftsmen. Dedicated staff. They put their heart and soul into these types of endeavors. We've accomplished all of these things while maintaining a balanced budget. Some changes that are taking place. Rapid population and enrollment growth. you can see that in San Joaquin County primarily, or our district, and by the way, our district, you have to look at San Joaquin County and then add 3% for the other parts of the other counties that we serve. So it's primarily San Joaquin County plus some minor parts of some other counties. But you can see by the year 2005, our population in our region is going to grow by 71%, substantial changes. Increased diversity with more underprepared students. Let's go back to that other, this slide up here. Let's go back one here. We've done some projections in the Institutional Research and Planning Office, and we use the Department of Finance projections from the state as to what's going to happen to Delta College. We use some other projections from a Stanford research research group, and then our own director modified the Department of Finance's projections. And these are all conservative. I think these are far too conservative. But you can see by the year 2005, we're going to have 32,781 students, I think minimally. And we're also going to be more diverse with underprepared students. But let's talk about the diversity. Presently, if you looked at the campus or our district in 1988, our district population, you can see the white population and the minorities. You can see what happens by 1995, the year 2000, and the year 2005. The whites will be the minority, and the minorities the majority. When I mention unprepared, if you look at the standardized tests that are given, and I forgot that CGP, it's a comparative guidance placement. You can see that the whites score 12% on this particular test above the mean, while the Asians are well below it, along with the blacks and Hispanics. This means there are going to be greater challenges for us, particularly in basic education. We also have to be more responsive to a community experiencing major problems. You know what they are. There are study groups looking at Greater Stockton and San Joaquin County. And you can read these items, and these are the problems that we're confronting as well. And there'll be challenges to us as well. One challenge is some of these schools in our community college district have some of the poorest scores in the state of California. And we have to do things to make these corrections. I think our staff, through the matriculation process, through the basic skills program, particularly in reading and writing, have been leaders in the state. We do have some deficiencies in computational skills and mathematics. We put in for a federal grant over a 3-year period of $600,000, and we barely missed it. We're planning to resubmit it. But even if we don't get the money, we're going to have to make some local effort in order to improve in basic mathematics and computational skills if we're to bring many of our unprepared high school graduates to a post-secondary level of education. A widening disparity between actual and funded enrollment. You can see what's happening to the enrollment. And what they did is used the fall enrollment figures. But if you really look at what happened this last year, the year that ended June 30 this year, this gap right here, this is the funded, this is the enrollment, and this is the funding level. And the gap is 1,895 ADA, which probably represents between 4,000 and 5,000 head count. That's a small college in there for which the college was not funded. The General Assembly did provide some monies. Delta was number one. We came out with $249,000 for our over-enrollment. And basically that gap represents, more closely, it should represent some $6 million. But we got $249,000 and we were number one. So this is a serious problem. This past year, the gap was 1,010 ADA, like a $3 million shortage to us. I think this year, we're going to have to spend the year talking about some enrollment management possibilities. I've talked to the President's Council. We want the Senate and the various committees, the Classified Staff Advisory Committee, to look at this, because it's a major problem. You just can't continue to provide more and more without funding. The deterioration of key elements of our physical plan. This campus is approximately 20 years old. It needs a lot of maintenance. We're completely re-roofing the roofs. I think we'll complete that this year. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning is antiquated in terms of the new technology, and we're going to have to make some substantial investments. We estimate that we waste $800,000 a year in energy. In terms of what's happening in the Middle East, our moral responsibilities, and just being good managers, we need to speak to this. We have substantial problems with our electrical system. In an electronic age where we have to string new wires and do new things, we need an electrical distribution system that is adequate, and also one that may conk out any time. Our electrical system is substantially at risk. All of these require immediate action and entail major costs. Now, in addition to all of these items, we have about 50 other projects going all the time, whether it's resurfacing tennis courts, redoing classrooms, recarpeting, doing a lot of things. We'll continue to do that. My hope is that within the next few years, we can correct the deficiencies of this campus so we can have this ambience, this beauty, this functionality, and reasonably priced campus for another 20 to 40 years. It's my hope that we can accomplish that and maintain this great place to work. So the changes that are taking place, rapid population enrollment growth, increased diversity with many more unprepared students, need to be responsive to a community experiencing major problems, the widening disparity between actual and funded enrollments, and the deterioration of key elements of our physical plan. Now, the last parts of decisions that we need to make in the future, and some objectives that we need. We need to prepare for this growth in enrollment by updating our 5-year plan and talk about those issues of a central campus versus suburban attendance sites. We have the planning committee. They have met. We're well on the way. We have a good database, and we're prepared to discuss it in the year ahead. Containing costs. The fiscal viability of this campus rests in these 3 areas. Healthcare costs that this year are rising almost to 70%, almost a 70% increase in 1 year. The funded retirement health care program. It was very generous in the years past, where you could qualify for lifetime benefits after working at Delta for 7 years. Between now and the year 2009, we have actuarial studies, and it's a serious problem. We're going to have to talk about it and see what can be done. Also, I mentioned energy. $800,000 of wasted cost that we don't need to encumber. If we can work on these three things and be reasonable and proper, take care of our staff, be humanistic, as well as have a good campus environment in terms of temperature and comfort, this college should do very well for the next 20 years. Another one is to achieve a representative student body. We've talked about the changing diversity. If you were to take a snapshot of our college today, here's what you'd find. You find a district population of 60% Caucasian, with 61% of the students at Delta Caucasian. The Hispanics, I'll come back to that one. The Asians, 11% in our district, 19% at the college. The black population basically balanced out. And I want to commend our Black Employees Association. This is the third year. They've been very active. They not only are excellent employees, but they represent their culture to us. They do things to share their culture. They do things to recruit, to serve as mentors. They're wonderful. And I think that they've given the leadership to the black community, and you can see how it's being reflected. The Hispanics have a greater challenge. 24% of our district population Hispanic, 15% here at Delta College, or representative at Delta College. That's the reason that we're going to reestablish not the HEP program per se, but a migrant education program. That's the reason we're interested in more programs of success within reach. We're asking Prefecto Munoz to stay on this year, the former director of HEP, in order to serve as an assistant to the Dean of Students to see what needs to be done in terms of outreach to the Hispanic community to help reconcile this problem. We're also going to meet with the Hispanic leadership throughout our college district to see what we can do to help to reconcile that. This year, as I mentioned earlier, we're all going to have to talk about enrollment management. As I mentioned, we've created a small college that's totally unfunded. I suspect that our unfunded enrollment is probably bigger than the new campus in Livermore. And we have to somehow know how to maximize our efforts and provide quality education and meet the needs of the students within basic state and local governing board policies. One year, as I said, 1,000 ADA, 1,010 over. In the year we just closed, 1,895 ADA that was unfunded. We need to construct a fiscally viable child development center. We're working very closely with the state under the chairperson of this committee. I think Hazel Hill and her committee have done an outstanding job. We need this. You heard one of the speakers talk about the average public community college student today. A woman, age 28, working with children. This is an important part of our future. As you noted today, we had more new faculty than we've probably had in the last 20 years. It's going to be difficult and competitive to hire the type of faculty that we've hired today. As you noted, they were all exceptionally talented and prepared for their work. But faculties at the public community colleges and universities in California are a bit older than average. They've been in place for many years, and we're going to have a greater turnover. And in order to achieve the diversity we want and the quality we want, it's going to be very competitive. And we need to talk about it and see what we can do in order to meet our affirmative action goals and continue to keep the high-quality staff that we presently have. We need to expand academic advisement services. I mentioned that we had completely reorganized the Dean of Students program. We've appointed various new administrators in that area and reorganized. The last component, and I think Felice Rodoni did very well with his staff in developing a conceptual framework for delivering counseling, guidance, and advisement services. We've met with our faculty leadership, and we're hiring 2 new persons in faculty advisement. And this is a prototype. We'll review it after 1 year, but we're hoping to do much more in this regard. Also, we need to increase retention, our graduation rates, as well as our transfer rates. The state of California has been critical of the public community colleges in this regard. I'm not hung up on it as much as many of the state policymakers, because I see us fulfilling the needs of many people outside of simple transferability. I think the vocational, technical, or completing the associate degree is extremely important. Oftentimes, a student may only need a course or 2 to fulfill what they have in mind. But nevertheless, our retention, the retention of students in the California system is not as great as the policymakers want, nor the graduation rates, nor the transfer rates. We need to discuss it and see how we can be a leader in this regard. I've talked about the deferred maintenance before. This will be ongoing. And again, someone earlier in this college's history made some great decisions to give us this wonderful campus, and that was 20 years ago.